Dozens of families of hostages held in Gaza are pushing Israel to strike a deal with Hamas after the militant group's proposal for a truce and hostage exchange deal was rejected by the Netanyahu government. Some of those families protested in Tel Aviv, voicing their concern that signs of a possible military offensive in Rafah could hinder ceasefire negotiations and jeopardize the lives of the hostages. And Rafah operations are now underway and have been for several days. Joining us now from Jerusalem, Rachel Goldberg-Polin and John Polin. 215 days ago, their son Hirsch, who's now 24 years old, was taken hostage at the music festival on October 7th. And welcome. You've been such passionate advocates and, so heroic. So I want to talk to you about this imminent hostage deal, which the CIA director is in Tel Aviv right now talking to Prime Minister Netanyahu. We're in Jerusalem. He's in Israel. And I'm told by U.S. officials it's close. But Israel has still not accepted the counteroffer from Hamas. What is your message to the Israeli government right now? Rachel?
Look, we don't know what the details are of the deal that is supposedly on the table at the moment. So we can't speak with authority or wisdom to what's being negotiated, but we have extreme confidence in CIA Director Bill Burns. We're eternally and always grateful when he's involved. And so we are remaining optimistic and hopeful. And as everyone in the region who is so desperate for an end to the suffering, not just for the 132 hostages and by extension their families, but the hundreds of thousands of innocent Gazans who are also suffering. So we are waiting. It's a waiting game.
John Polin, as a father, as Hirsch's father, what do you think of the Rafah operations right now? Because Israel is not going in with a full-scale invasion, but they are going in a lot harder than the U.S. wanted, because the U.S. has been arguing that this could jeopardize the surviving hostages.
Yeah, I'll admit that I worry. This could go in multiple directions. I was hoping we could avoid this, but it's also day 215. And I will say, while I've got confidence still in CIA Director Burns and many of the other negotiators, I also am feeling a little bit disgruntled by diplomacy. It's enough. We need to see results. We need our hostages home. And I really didn't want to have to enter Rafah. I still hope that it can be contained and we can get a deal today and call everything off. The defense minister in Israel, Yoav Gallant, said yesterday that the Rafah operation will continue until Hamas is diminished or until the first hostage gets released. So the ball is in the court of parties who can say, let's wind this down, and there's a really clear way to do it. And I'm hoping for that result.
2 weeks ago, Hamas released the first video of your son since he had been kidnapped and injured during the October 7th attack. It was not dated. Clearly visible, though, was your son's left forearm, which had been amputated just below the elbow. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan told us recently that the tape was being analyzed by the FBI. Have you learned anything from them or from your own observations about how Hirsch is doing?
Well, both the FBI and Israeli intelligence have been in touch with us as soon as they knew about the video being imminently released, and they both have medical teams that analyze video to understand someone's health status. And we have been told that he is in a fragile and compromised medical situation. Clearly, his amputated arm, which we've been told will require at least one, perhaps two more surgeries in order to get it to a point where it would be appropriate for a prosthetic to be able to take. But that also requires a lot of therapy and nerve stimulation, which is supposed to happen 2 to 3 weeks after an amputation. We're talking about something that happened 7 months ago. But in addition to that, we were told, as you could see, he's very pale from having been in a tunnel for 6 months or 7 months, and has some bruising on his forehead, which they said could be indicative of malnutrition. So as a mother, as a father, that's difficult to see. And on the other hand, we are so grateful to have the proof of life. And when you're starving, as we've been starving for anything, to, have a stale crumb is a treat. And so to see him moving, to hear his voice was really indescribable for us.
We can only imagine. Given all that you've gone through and what he's gone through, what are your concerns, Rachel, that he is underground in Rafah?
I mean, all of these hostages have been in an active war zone for the last 200 plus days. And the anxiety and fear and misery that we hostage families have been feeling has never diminished for a moment from when October 7th happened. I'm incredibly concerned. And as I said before, I mean, there are so many people in harm's way, and we are desperate to have the suffering end. We are desperate to have our only son home.
Andrea, I'd like to add that we caught the end of your conversation just before we came on, and the gentleman that you were speaking to was talking about the necessary Israeli military strategy, and you correctly asked him, well, what about the hostages that we believe are in the tunnels? And we didn't get the answer, but it's indicative of how the hostages seem to have fallen off of the radar from this situation. And in particular, there are 132 hostages still being held, but in particular, what is surprising to us is that the 8 remaining Americans are barely discussed, and that Americans may not be aware that there are 8 United States citizens being held hostage. October 7th was an attack on Israel, but it was also, as President Biden said, an attack on America. 45 Americans were killed on October 7th. 12 were taken hostage. 8 remain in captivity. And I'm not aware if that is in the daily conversation in the United States right now.
We often hear about, Evan Gershkovich. Brittany Griner was a household name in our house. We were following her story when she was unjustly being held, as Evan is still being unjustly held. But we don't hear, those are names that we heard and hear all the time. I don't know that Americans hear about Keith and Hirsch and Omer and Idan and Sagi, Itai, Judy, and Gadi. None of those names come up, the US 8. And I think that that's doing an injustice to them and erasing them from this horrific story that is part of US history now.
Rachel and John, we are committed to keeping those names front and center. Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Let's hear some good news soon.
Amen.
Indeed.